Hey guys, welcome in. This is a solo episode with me, Bella. I have some beautiful messages coming through that all relate to opening your heart, and it also has to do with the nature of light. I had such a beautiful, serendipitous, kind of synchronistic conversation last night with actually someone who has a PhD in astrophysics, which is freaking crazy. And we started talking about light in the universe. And of course, my mind starts making connections about what is found on a quantum level, on a cosmological level, and how those things parallel the mystical or spiritual nature of reality. And I often hear the same thing. I see the same thing, whether we're explaining it through science and measurement or we are explaining it through mystery teachings. So I'm just going to start by reading something that started to come through and then just really riff on it, because I feel that every once in a while, probably more often than not, we're just all being invited to open our hearts more and to trust a little bit more in the mechanics of life. And one of those things that helps with that is to talk about the nature of light itself, and also therefore the nature of what we perceive to be darkness, or what we perceive to be a challenge in our life, or density, intensity, whatever it is. So let's dive in and let's do this. I'm going to start by reading this, okay? It is okay for you to trust your inner knowing. It is okay that now you want to put your divine guidance system above all else and to finally see the 3D evidence of that working out for your highest good. You are a light being. When you move around, when you move to the edge of your comfort zone, you shine light in the unknown. This unknown appears as quote unquote darkness. It gets interpreted as scary or bad or something to avoid, not because it is actually dark in the sense of being evil or something that's trying to get you, but simply because you don't know what it is yet. But this is exactly why your light is shining on it. This is exactly why the dust has been kicked up and the shadows have been revealed. It is so that you can finally shake off the stories that themselves were illusions, so that more light can be realized. I want to explain this choice of words here to say that more light can be realized. We can have fun playing with words here, because instead of saying finding more light, when something is realized, it has this quality of already being there, but that we simply needed to shift our perspective, or we just needed a different tool or framework in order to see it. And light being realized is a really beautiful concept, because at the end of the day, and especially on this quantum level, cosmological level, it is all light. Light is the fundamental building block of everything. And also this human experience is largely happening because of this ability to perceive light and to interact with this physical world, being this like almost literal reflector system of the photons and the atoms and the things that we perceive to be so solid. So the challenge that you're experiencing right now is so that you can end up fine-tuning your eyes and your heart, therefore your being, to recognize more light. There's this idea that if we are experiencing suffering, or we're experiencing some sort of sense of victimhood, it is simply because we just are not seeing the full picture, because we are not seeing the light that is actually here. And therefore we are clinging to the stories and the illusions of what we have interpreted a situation or a life circumstance to mean, especially to mean about us or about the world. But in the quantum world, what appears to be dark is just something we haven't figured out how to measure. Like essentially this idea that if you were to try to take this photo of the universe and you were trying to see the in-between stuff between the planets, the things that are clearly bright in the photo, and you turn those lights off, turn off the sun, turn off the planets, the moons, all of that, and try to see then what is left. This is what scientists have done. They take these photos of the universe, and a pretty profound discovery was made. I think it was in the 70s or 90s. Sorry that I don't know the exact thing. I'll have to look that up another time. But long story short, in trying to see what's really out there, they realized that what appears to be dark or black or a void is actually also just light. We just didn't have a way to perceive it yet. So what is perceived as, even think about when you're in your bedroom at night and the lights are off, what you think is dark is really just because your eyes don't see what's actually there. There's actually a lot of things there. Energy, photons, the air, right? It's all there. The wall in your room is still there. You just can't see it. Does it mean that there is something bad there, something to avoid? No, it's just something to understand further, right? Understanding leads, to this opening of the heart. So to make the parallel here, in this quantum world, what appears to be dark is just something we haven't figured out how to measure. It's not actually dark or nothing. It's something we don't quite yet have the tool or the system or the framework to understand. So this is key, because if you think of your psyche like something that is also being discovered, like the cosmos, right? We fly out there, we send out these cameras, these spaceships to try to understand the cosmos and get a bigger and bigger picture of what's going on. The same thing is what's happening in our psyche, in our experience of this mind, body, soul complex that we are. You are just discovering, quote unquote, new bits and pieces. And sometimes we encounter a bit that we just haven't yet seen before, or we have seen it before, but we never really fully understood it to the degree that then we could bring light to it and actually realize it as the light. And that unknown bit that we encounter in our psyche scares us only because of our conditioning, only because there's this idea that what we cannot see or what we cannot understand is inherently wrong or bad or a threat to you. But deep down, we know that this is simply an opportunity to reveal the true nature of what this darkness or this challenge really is. That true nature, right? If it exists in this universe, in this cosmos that is made up of light, then that true nature, when fully revealed, is going to be light. That light might not have the specific flavor or expression that we prefer, but nonetheless, it is light. So, yeah, I want to just sit here with this, because so much of our suffering in life, the feeling that we are victim to something or that something is not okay, something is wrong, is really just because we haven't fully understood it. And of course, you can then fully see the true nature of something and decide that it's not for you, that you don't like it. And that is very welcome and very much a part of this life experience as a human being here on earth, is to discover things and then to choose what you want to interact with. But the invitation here, and a lot of this I really speak to also as an invitation and reminder for myself, things that I am moving through, which is to take on this almost scientific lens and say, if I am seeing something and it causes a certain reaction in me, and I start to close my heart to it because I believe I need to be protected from it, maybe this is something that wants to be more revealed to me. Maybe this is asking me to seek understanding. And if you've done any subconscious healing on yourself, maybe you've experienced it in a space with Nikki and I in the portal, or maybe you know of our dear mentor and friend, Sarah Zula, who is a leading figure and healer in the subconscious space. If If you've dabbled in that world, you know that something pretty profound happens when you add more shape and color to a challenge in your life, or maybe you are reflecting on a childhood memory or a circumstance that was quite difficult for you and led to certain beliefs being installed in your self. And when you bring the light to that, you can also say when you bring your heart to it, like as if your heart could shine this flashlight on something in your life, that thing literally transforms. The nature of it changes because you've now observed it through the light of your heart. What's so freaking cool is that this is exactly what we do in scientific fields, like in the quantum world, the observer effect, and the fact that consciousness has an effect on the thing that is observed, and how profound it is to apply that on deeper and deeper levels to your own life and your own psyche and experience. That is something that fascinates me, because the more that I apply this framework to my own life, the more that I see my heart as this flashlight, my heart that has its own set of eyes and perception mechanism, that when I look to a circumstance or a person or a memory or whatever the case may be, through the light of my heart or the light of my awareness is another great way to put it, that thing seems like it just completely changes. What you once thought of it, what you once thought was the irrefutable truth about that thing, literally shapeshifts because of the new nature of it, that because of the real nature that you have revealed about it. And this all started with a little kind of a message about your inner knowing, and that it's okay for you to now choose that your divine guidance system from within gets to be what guides you. And that segued into this idea of you being this light being, that you are made up of energy. And it all ties together because it is this really beautiful presence of awareness that you have, right? Like you can think about how you're sitting here listening to this or watching this, and instead of fully identifying with the physical form or what you're hearing, you can now take the seat of the observer, where you're not so in it, but you are more so getting to explore it without being caught up in it. And we're kind of right here accessing these different levels of consciousness and different ways of relating to your life and your challenges and your 3D world by prioritizing what's called the inner knowing. That inner knowing is driven by a sense mechanism. I'm going to call it a sense mechanism, something that has the ability to sense and know things that is beyond the limited perception of the physical world and of your logical mind, let's say. Okay, a really good parallel for this is to say that in everyday life, there is a spectrum of light. Since we're talking about light here, there's a spectrum of visible light that we, with the naked human eye, can see. But there's other stuff outside of that that is very much real. We just don't perceive it. So what if your inner knowing and this guidance system that you have within, this thing that is responsible for the intuitive pings that you get, the instinctive hits, right? The directionals that are very clear from your body or from your third eye, whatever you want to call it. What if that is aware of much more than what you can currently see where you sit right here on this 3D plane? That is what I'm talking about with this inner knowing. It becomes this like state of being and this almost like a thing that you can tap on to guide you, because it has access to more information than, let's say, just the logical mind or this like current 360 degrees experience that you can see around you has. It has more than that sliver of spectrum that you actually are tapped into right now. So it all interrelates. And right now what's happening is perhaps your inner knowing is moving you to the edge of a comfort zone. And at the edge of that comfort zone is what appears to be darkness or the unknown, or simply something that you do not fully understand yet about your life or about yourself, or about your vision, your path. And so if we apply this understanding that what is seemingly unknown or dark or even bad is just a place that our inner knowing is trying to move to so it can expand what is known. The more that it reveals the nature of what's at the edge of that comfort zone, the more you expand, the more you become in tune with the natural essence of this entire universe, and the way that the tiniest bits all the way up to the biggest bits, the way that those move and function. So the take home message for you is to tune in right now to your heart. Take a breath into the heart. And as you breathe there for a few moments, placing this intention that knowing that the heart, right, that energy center, that literal organ, is able to see and know far beyond just this moment and the limited data that you have. And so if your heart, your inner compass, is guiding you somewhere, is bringing you to an experience of life that is challenging, to know that that is simply because more light is ready to be revealed. It is because you are ready to see something from a new perspective that results in an inner state of empowerment, rather than being victim to that discomfort, to that edge, a victim to the quote unquote darkness. Instead, to say that your heart, your inner knowing, the divine is guiding you there because you're about to see more light and therefore transform whatever you once thought was a bad thing, a difficulty beyond something you could handle, as pretty freaking beautiful. And in fact, another proof that there is light all around. That the very nature of your existence is one of light and of love. So this was a bit of a quantum perspective to help open your heart and to help you understand those mechanics that are at play in your life, because that is how guided you are. That's how guided we are. We are brought to the edge of our comfort zone. The shadows are kicked up out of their sleep in order to be realized as what they really are. And you're here because you're very much on this path, right? This path of soul alignment, of living your mission. So whatever that challenge is, big, small, just know there is a greater divinity playing out here. There's a greater order playing out that you are a part of. And what I just spoke of, I honestly recommend restarting the episode again, because it's all going to land differently now that we've touched on everything. You're going to see that you are a part of this order and this unfolding that is so elegant and beautiful and will bring you so much peace and will open your heart. And that's the key to it all. The open heart is the thing that allows you to experience the true beauty of this life, and is what allows you to be in your zone of genius, to be expressing yourself at the fullest, to be experiencing a life of awe and wonder, and being so held and guided to feel truly at one with this whole existence. All of that can come from seeing the fuller picture, from seeing that the underbelly, the thing that appeared to be so dark, was really just something for you to understand a little bit more. Such power in a simple shift in perspective, such power in realizing that that other side of the known is such fertile ground for beauty to take place, for new creation to take place. So I'm going to close this transmission here because, wow, definitely rewind and listen to this again. If you want to really contemplate and sit with these concepts, they are freaking beautiful and pretty life-changing to really integrate. And I will say that depending on when you're listening to this, make sure that you check the description and jump in to the portal. The portal is our 6-month signature experience that takes you through the 7 codes of creation. This round that starts in January 2026 will be run, of course, by Nikki and I, and we are bringing in our dear friend and mentor, Sarah Zula, who you may have heard of or have her reference on the podcast. We're definitely going to do an episode with her sometime soon. That seed has been planted. And the portal is going to feature the 3 of us together running 1 session a week in different ways. And this is the space for you to fully lock in to your mission and for you to fully co-create with Source. And the portal is really for people who know these truths. You've had the awakening. You know what is possible, but you're ready to experience that. You're ready for that to be fully reflected in your 3D world, and you get to have both. You do. That's what the portal is about. We're so freaking excited. It has been incredible to see so many of you joining already, and this is going to be magic. This is the space where you truly see yourself fly, where you as a leader, a visionary, an entrepreneur, a founder, an artist, a creative, where all of that, all those pieces of you get to be so fully expressed in the most authentic way and using yourself as the blueprint, using yourself as the way forward, learning how to make your intuition and your inner guidance system be the business plan, be the thing that attracts and magnetizes in the right opportunities. So I'll leave that there. Go check the description. We would love to have you inside. And thank you so much for being here, for listening. Please comment below if you're watching on Spotify or on YouTube, or send me a message. Let me know what resonated with you. I love you, and I'll see you soon.